A boat never sinks all at once. There's always something before something else happens. A small thing. And you look at that small thing and say, I'll deal with it. And you put it off. Most people do exactly that. But right there, something begins. This video has 5 stories. Each one starts with a small problem. And in every single one, at some point, someone thought, this isn't that important. Let's get into it. We're starting from 5. The boat was brand new. The guy had done everything right. Good brand, known shipyard, professional installation, all of it. He knew there was dripping from the stern gland. Almost every sailboat has that. People have normalized it. So he had an automatic bilge pump installed in the stub keel area. Float switch goes up, pump kicks in, water goes out. Installed, tested, good. One weekend he came down to the boat. There's moisture on the cabin floor. It had rained the night before, so he didn't think much of it. Probably seeped in through a window. Normal, he said, and moved on. Same thing the next week. A bit more this time, but again, rain, he told himself, and let it go. Most people would have done the same thing at this point. Third week, same thing again. And now he actually bent down and looked. The water was much higher than he expected. He checked the float switch. Clogged. Debris that had fallen into the bilge during construction. Wood shavings, small plastic pieces, all of it had slowly built up around the switch, and the float wasn't rising anymore. The pump hadn't kicked in for weeks. Not once. Not a single time. And right now the water had risen all the way up to the cable junction point. 3 wires were taped together there, constantly under voltage. What would have happened if he'd waited a few more days? The electrical system probably collapses, pump goes completely offline, water keeps rising. Brand new boat, sitting at the dock, nobody looking, nobody even aware. A float switch isn't just a mechanical part. It's the thing keeping your boat alive when you're not there. And when it clogs, it doesn't tell you. No alarm goes off, no light comes on, nothing happens. It quietly stops working, and the water quietly keeps rising. Now hold on for a second. Most people think of the bilge pump as always being there, always working. I left it in automatic mode, it'll take care of itself, they say. But being in automatic mode doesn't mean it's actually working. The switch could be clogged, the switch could be working, but the pump could be burned out, the pump could be running, but the discharge line could be blocked. In all of these cases, the system tells you nothing. It's just not working, and you don't know it for weeks. Now, I want to ask you something. Think honestly. When was the last time you manually lifted the float switch to test it? If you're saying I just checked that it was in automatic mode and moved on, then this story is exactly for you. And you don't have to wait for your boat to sink before you start asking that question. 4. This one surprised me too. The guy came to his boat on the weekend. The moment he opened the door, he caught a smell. Burning but not smoky. The smell of burning electrical insulation. Once you've smelled it, you can never mix it up with anything else. A very specific smell, something between plastic and copper. You probably have some sense of what that smells like. And there's a feeling inside it, a feeling of something went wrong here. He looked at the bilge. About 2 gallons of water, nothing unusual, within normal range. Then he looked at the pump. The top of the pump had melted and charred. There was a hole the size of a coin burned through it. There was a small burn mark on the cabin floor. No smoke still coming off it, but something had happened there. Something had happened in that spot, and he'd noticed it hours after the fact. What had happened? The float switch hadn't clogged this time. Quite the opposite. It had stuck in the up position. The pump had been running non-stop for hours, all through the night, with nobody around. It had gotten hot, then kept getting hot, started melting. The fuse should have kicked in to prevent this, but when he opened the fuse box, he saw that instead of a 2.5 amp fuse, a 10 amp slow blow fuse had been installed on the pump circuit. Who put it there? When? Impossible to say. Maybe the previous owner, maybe a technician threw it in while rushing, maybe someone said, I didn't have a 2.5 on me, this'll do, and you'd never know but the bill comes to you. Maybe nobody had even noticed. Think about this scene for a second. Night, marina, nobody around, pump running for hours, getting hot, melting. If there had been a rag right next to the pump, if it had gone on just a little longer, what would someone arriving at the marina in the morning have found? And there were other boats sitting right next to that one in the marina. Now I want to ask you something. Are your fuses correct? A technician came, hooked some things up, said good, left. Did you check behind him? Most people don't. Why would they? The guy's a professional, he knows what he's doing. I pay attention to this topic in my other videos too. But someone had installed that pump in this story too, and that person was probably also a professional. Making a fuse list, checking them one by one, noting down the correct amp values. It all sounds very detailed. But after reading this story, it sounds a little different, doesn't it? One small wrong fuse. The rest just took care of itself. Before moving on to the others, if you've watched this far, please don't forget to subscribe and hit like for more videos. 3. This section is a bit different because no part had worn out here. No system had failed at the start, but I still put it on the list. The problem was a decision, and that's what makes this story more unsettling than the others. It had rained all night. It was 5:30 in the morning. The sea hadn't settled yet, but in someone's head there was the thought of, it'll clear up. This is a very familiar thought. It'll clear up, it'll get better once we're out, open water will be calmer. The route was set, the distance looked manageable, 2 engines were running, planning had been done. They pulled up anchor and left. The first few hours passed, everything seemed normal. Then the wind shifted, and large waves started coming from exactly the same angle, continuously hitting the same point. This kind of accumulated load is very dangerous. It isn't sudden, it slowly strains everything. With one sudden surge, there was serious damage to the sail. Maneuverability dropped. Then the steering chain snapped. So what would you have done in that situation? Now the picture looks like this. Waves continuously slamming from the beam, wind blowing at full force, no steering, sail out of commission, boat nearly out of control. Using both engines as a rudder, trying to get a southward heading with a partially functioning autopilot, made it into port hours later. Everyone was safe, but the boat had taken serious damage. It had taken a long time, an exhausting and dangerous ordeal had been survived. Now, I want to ask you something. What was it that put the boat in this situation? You're going to say the steering chain snapped or the sail tore, but all of that is consequence. The real problem is this. In the early hours of the morning, with the sea unsettled, with the weather uncertain, the decision that said, we can go. And that's the hardest part right there. Because in that moment, everything looks logical. Nobody wakes up in the morning thinking, I'm going to have a disaster today. They think it might be tough, but we'll manage. Some people go out because of pressure from those around them, giving in to questions like, why aren't you going? But the sea looks at the answers without asking the questions. 2. It had been there for a few years. A small vibration at certain RPMs, at certain speeds. He couldn't pin it down exactly, coming from the engine compartment or from the shaft. Hard to tell, but something was there. He'd figured it was coming from the engine side. Maybe the engine mounts had worn out, maybe a small imbalance. He'd told himself it would get sorted at the service. Service was coming up anyway. Service came, the technician looked, general check was done, left. At that point, had there been any talk about the vibration? He couldn't remember. Maybe he'd mentioned it, maybe he'd forgotten. But the vibration kept going, and the boat was running, so it didn't matter. One night, while underway offshore, a different sound came from the engine compartment. Not one of the usual sounds, the kind of sound that tells you something has changed. He bent down and looked. Water was coming in, not slowly, seriously, and fast. It was seeping around the shaft seal. That small vibration that had gone on for years was a sign of misaligned shaft alignment, and that misalignment had been slowly wearing down the seal bellows, one revolution at a time, one day at a time. That night, the bellows gave out. Offshore, at night, water coming in, engine at risk, help hours away. Picture this in your head. Shaft alignment is exactly that kind of problem. It takes time to show itself. The vibration starts small, gets written off as normal. The metal wears a little more with every revolution. This wear is invisible, can't be seen with the eye, doesn't easily make it onto a checklist. Because it doesn't point at itself and say, this is here, come look at this. There's just a vibration, and vibration usually seems unimportant. And this isn't just one person's story. Because of the same problem, a few months apart from each other, 2 different boats sank. 2 separate captains, 2 separate boats, the same mechanism, the same process. Both had vibration beforehand. Both were told it would get sorted at service. Neither one did. 1. The quietest story on this list, and one that really got to me. Because in this story, nobody made a big mistake, and that's what makes it so much more unsettling. The guy had set out on a long passage. He had done his preparation, checked the boat, ticked off the lists, got underway. The bilge pump was there, he thought it was in automatic mode, he thought it would kick in when needed. That's what automatic mode is for after all. That's why these systems are built. Look, I checked, everything's good, let's go. But there was one thing he hadn't noticed. The switch had been moved to manual during a service. Maybe the technician had moved it and forgotten to put it back. Maybe someone had accidentally touched it. Maybe a hand had brushed it during a check. Who had changed it when there was no way of knowing? But the switch was in the wrong position and nobody knew. The first night passed normally. Sea manageable, wind manageable, everything going to plan. Second day passed normally too, but the water was slowly rising. A small leak coming from somewhere invisible, the kind of thing that can happen on any boat. If the pump had been running, this leak wasn't even enough to strain the system. That's what the pump was built for. For small leaks, that's exactly what it was there for. But the pump wasn't running. And for hours, silently, without anyone noticing, the water had been rising. When he opened the engine compartment, he saw serious water in the bilges. Think about that moment. Offshore, water from a source not yet known, pump not working, help far away. He started with the hand pump. Water coming in, pumping, brief pause, rising again. Can't find the source, water keeps coming. Contacted the Coast Guard. After a long wait, a pump was dropped off. But without an engine, in heavy sea conditions, managing this load alone was no longer possible. The boat was abandoned. It's estimated she sank 69 hours later. Read that one more time if you want. The man survived. But the boat, 69 hours later, in the middle of the ocean, with nobody watching, sank. And this whole story started here. A switch was in manual instead of automatic. A few centimeters difference. A 5-second check. Just looking at the switch and saying, is it on automatic? Yes, automatic. That's all. That's why this story really got to me. Because you can't say, this guy was careless, he was unprepared, he made a mistake. You can't say it because he didn't make a big mistake. Preparation was done, he went out to sea, help was requested, the right steps were taken. But one small thing, something nobody had asked about, changed everything. And it's very easy to say that could have been you about this story. Because it genuinely could have been. None of these 5 stories had a sudden storm. None of them had an incompetent or careless captain. What every single one of them had was this. A small thing was either ignored or went unnoticed, and the sea waited for its moment. Now, I want to be honest with you. If you watch this video thinking, I already know all of this, you're probably wrong about at least one of them. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Our community is slowly growing. See you in the next one. Take care.